second. I'm going to turn down the heat up in here. Yeah, we're live. All right. So as we're live, I'm going to go turn down the heat. Hold on.
You're going to turn on the heat? You're cold? Welcome, Facebook world. Welcome to Proven by Ruben. There he is.
All right, cool.
I like the shirt.
Oh, cash flow couples.
That's you and the missus?
Yeah, well, we started a cash flows couples mastermind get together here in Fayetteville because what we found is that there's a few people who that are in the business together, husband and wife or whatever, and they're in this business figuring things out together. Different type of challenges that they run into than a regular, maybe another couple where there's only one person who's licensed. So we started doing this meetup and we call it Cash Flow Couples, and we get into it. Our own unique problems that we have at home, right? As entrepreneur, but both real estate entrepreneurs. So, yeah.
Do you own any clothes that's not customized?
No.
It's a write-off. I think you write off your whole wardrobe.
Yeah, I mean, I do, but I don't, I always see the point to brand yourself first, to put yourself out there first, especially on something that's going to be streaming all over the place, and oh, by the way, anybody who's interested, click the link below and you could get a shirt just like this.
Do you find that that's a conversation starter when you go places? Do you get a lot of people just like, hey, what do you know about cash flow? What do you know about real estate?
I wore a t-shirt that says "Family's Thicker Than Blood," which is another t-shirt I made. I wore that at the tattoo convention. Started conversations immediately. So yeah, I think it's great, and especially my real estate one. That one always starts conversations.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's good. Well,
yeah, I like it.
We got a few people who have showed up. If you don't, and we might not see who's commenting. We might not see some people who have showed up because of just how this thing streams. But either way, if you don't mind, for the people who are watching, by the way, anyway, I just saw someone hit a like. Anybody who's watching, hit a like, hit a heart. Let me know that you're out there. Show some love on this Wednesday morning. And yeah, man, if you don't mind, tell everyone who you are, what you do, how you do it, and all that jazz. And then we'll roll into the good stuff.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you, Ruben. I appreciate you having me on here with you, man. I'm a big fan of yours as well. I love all the content you do. Well, for those of you who are not familiar with myself, I am Luis Leiva. I've been in real estate since 2003. So I've seen a couple of waves already. I'm on my second wave, I feel right now. And I've been loving every part of it. I started off as in sales. I've matured into leading teams, running brokerages, and I like to say I've evolved now to the EXP model, which allows me to get my life back and actually have a 30-foot lever on my business instead of a 3-foot lever, like Brent Go says. So I'm excited about it. I'm a child of God. I'm a big believer, and I'm also I'm a giver, man. I'm a person who likes to do for others. So if anyone out there wants to learn about real estate or wants to really kind of like take it to the next level, I host a mastermind every Monday, and I'm always doing stuff like this. I love collaboration. So thank you, Ruben. That's pretty much it in a nutshell.
Thank you. I mean, you and I have had conversations about cryptocurrencies and stock and everything else. So, there's a whole wide gamut that you look at in terms of cash flow, equity, and stuff like that. So that's super interesting. And I know that on our last mastermind on Friday, our Freedom Friday call, you brought up this cool little chart talking about EXPI, the ticker symbol, stock. And I was like, you got to show the world this. I thought it was pretty cool. You spend a lot of time on it. Why not show it? And you just said you're a man of giving. So I thought that would be pretty cool.
I'm an open book. I'm an open book. There was a time in which I had a business partner who I said, I want to teach everybody everything I know. He's like, you're crazy. Why would you do that? You're going to create a whole bunch of competitors, and that's not good for business. I'm like, I don't know. I strongly believe otherwise. I think the more we give, the more we get. So when I got the opportunity to teach the world what I knew, it was the biggest blessing I could do for not only them, but for myself and my business. So yeah, let me take you over. I'll share my screen in just a second. But first, let me just kind of give you guys the backstory on it. So I'm a huge data guy. Like I'm a very analytical, probably more analytical than is healthy. I lose a lot of people. So I gotta calm myself down a bit because people don't tend to follow things as quickly as I explain it. So I'm gonna go really slow and I'm gonna run through it. Like if Ruben was an agent that I wanted to educate, I'm gonna run him through this. That way you guys can follow along. So what I like to do is at EXP, a lot of people don't understand the opportunity. We've all been conditioned to think about how much commission can we earn from our closings, right? We're not asking the right question. We're asking ourselves the question that we know because that's how real estate has always been done. But if you look at the Fortune 500 companies, the biggest companies in the world, the executives that work for those companies, they get paid in cash and stock. And the richest ones in the world, Elon Musk, Bezos, these guys only get paid in stock.
Yeah.
Right? They pay no tax, only get paid in stock, and they just use their stock as equity when they need money. They pull a loan against it. So they never pay tax. Well, that's a whole nother story for another day. But what I'm telling people is you got to get out of the mindset that you can only get paid in cash, because if you only get paid in cash, you're only thinking two-dimensionally. I want you guys to think in three dimensions, because if you also take in consideration the stock that you're getting when you're being compensated, it's a whole nother level. It's a whole nother world. So sometimes especially here in Florida, I run into a lot of agents that work for 100% brokerages. And when they tell me 100%, I'm like, okay, that's great. But I can introduce you to agents who have made 2, 3, 4, 500%. And they're like, how is that possible? How do you get paid more than what you bring in? So it's very possible. So today I'm going to show you guys how that's actually possible. So Ruben, with your permission, I'm going to share the screen and I'm going to show you guys what I've got here.
Yeah, go ahead. For anybody who's watching that has a question, just ask it. We will get to it. We may even get to it right on the fly. But if you do have a question, go ahead and type it in. We'll flash it on the screen. Yeah. All of that. All right, I got it here. Do you want me to add it to the stream?
Yeah, go for it. I'm just going to zoom in a bit. Awesome. All right, so what we've got here, this is funny. I just sat with a guy yesterday who does 150 transactions a year. That's great. So
individual or with a team?
He has a couple of people on his team, but him and his partners are the ones that are doing the majority of this business. So he's at 100% brokerage. And I mean, literally, I was like, you know what? You've got $99 per transaction. He's like, yeah, but I bury that in fees. I'm like, all right. So I'm not even going to put anything down here. I'm just going to use zero, as you don't pay anything. So this guy who doesn't pay anything at his brokerage makes $1.5 million a year. And at EXP Realty, he'd be making, just a little bit less. He'd be leaving about 20 grand behind. But when we factored in the stock compensation, with the stock compensation that he's getting just on the surface alone, we're talking about 1.578, which is more than what he was getting at his 100% brokerage, nothing out of pocket, right? It's still more, but that's only on the surface, because that's saying that the stock compensation that you're getting is never going to go up again. So why I built this calculator out is because people don't have any foresight. They don't have the ability to look out into the future. Some people do. Those are called visionaries, but most people are not visionaries. So what I did was I created this right here, which is a game changer. This is a formula that pulls the price of the EXP stock minute by minute. So as the stock changes, as the stock goes up or down in price, this also changes. What this tells you is how much the stock of EXP has gone up over the last 5 years per year, just per year. So from 2017, year till today, present day, it's gone up 185% each year. So what I like to do is I say to them, look, I can't make any predictions. I can't make any guarantees of what the stock will do in the future. But what do you think the stock will do in the next 5 years? If you look at the last 5 years, it's done 185% per year. What do you think it'll do in the next? The lowest estimation I've gotten from anyone I've spoken to has been about 10%. And I was like, you know what? Let's just use 10%. That's slightly higher than inflation. That's like putting your money in the S&P. No problem. We can use that. So for this guy, that totals another almost $700,000 in 5 years just from stock compensation alone. So that's an additional $138,000 every year. So when I showed him that, I'm like, bro, even if you're not paying anything, you're still leaving almost $140,000 on the table. Then he starts scratching his head because $140,000, that's a lot of marketing money. That's a lot of money I'm leaving on the table. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to run through this from scratch with you. So I'm going to talk to you, Ruben. Give me an example, Ruben. Let's just say what the average agent you speak to who is an icon agent, right? An icon agent is the type of agent we're trying to be business partners with anyway. That's someone who's doing about 2.5 transactions a month, possibly 3 transactions a month. What is the average that you get when you speak into these guys? How many closings do they do a year?
Let's say, to keep some of maybe the averagey type of agent,
Yep.
let's say 15.
Okay, so 15. So we're not even going to use an icon agent. What's the average sale price?
We're at let's just say 200 right now.
200. Okay, we're going to use 200,000. And so that's an agent that does $3 million a year in sales volume. What's your average commission for your marketplace?
Depends. Let's say 5,000.
Oh no, what I mean is commission percentage. So do you get
Oh,
2.5% mostly, 3%? What is
so
the average percentage?
yeah, so I'll say 3%. The reason why I'll
Okay.
say 3% is because we are offering buyers agents 3.5%.
Nice,
You're
nice.
beating up the market.
I love it.
And there's a way to do it, agents. There's a way to do it to where you're still more profitable as a listing agent, but you are seeing a lot of 2.5%. So I'm going to average it out with what we're disrupting the market with to what we see the market doing 2.5. We'll hit in the middle at 3%.
Good. Let's use 3 as the average, all right? So we're talking about an agent who's doing 90,000 gross. Now, at most brokerages that agents are working at, they're probably at an 80-20 split. Is that fair to say?
Correct.
All right. So they're leaving behind $18,000 just from their split. And, some places there's a cap. Let's just say there is no cap on this hypothetical scenario. And, they've got a franchise fee. I know a lot of these agents are paying 6% franchise. And there's even a transaction fee sometimes, maybe $50 per closing. And don't forget, we got E&O, right? $500 a year on E&O. So when we look at company A, is this typical? Is this okay to say?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. This is typical. So this agent is leaving behind $24,650 on the table, walking away with $65,000. That's not bad because the industry has changed a lot over the years. When I started, 50-50 was like the staple for everyone. If you were
That's
a
what I
rock star,
started.
it was 60-40, so this has come a long way. Yeah,
Mhm.
exactly. So now we're looking at EXP's model. Where at EXP's model, when you factor in what it costs you to work there, you're only leaving behind about 17,000 versus the 24. Not life-changing money. It's not going to make anyone, change their zip code or anything like that. You're walking away with more money, but the real magic happens when you start thinking like an owner. You start thinking about equity, like Grant Cardone talks about, like a lot of the big guys. You want equity. That's what you want when you're when you're working. You shouldn't be working just for dollars. You should be working for equity, ownership. All right. So first closing every year, EXP gives you $200. That's just for breathing, guys. First closing every single anniversary year, you're getting $200 in company stock.
Yep.
When you cap, which means you hit this number, 16,000. Once you make $16,000 company dollar, you get an additional $400 in company stock. Now, we also have a very unique program in the real estate industry, which is called the Agent Equity Program. I call it the stock program just to kind of water it down a bit. What it means is that you're going to get the ability. It's not obligated. You can do this or not. It's up to you. I tell my agents, all of them, to do it and forget about it. You can take 5% of your closing and you can buy the company's stock at a 10% discount. Now, there's no restrictions to that stock, so you can sell that the very next day if you want to. So that's a game changer for a lot of agents because most agents never pay themselves. They never save for retirement. So this is one way they can do that and not even think about it. It's automatic for you, right? So if you do that, just the savings on the 10%, not even what you're going to accumulate in value, not even the accumulation of face value of stock, but just the savings on the 10% alone is an additional $450 a year. Now, you're not going to qualify for Icon, unfortunately, because at this average sale price, you'd probably need somewhere around 35 to 40 transactions a year if you're going to be doing $200,000 average sale prices.
We'll do that next, too.
Yeah,
we're
going to eliminate that. Yeah, we're going to take that out. So that means that this agent is actually, at the end of the year, is going to do about $73,000 cash and stock compensation. As opposed to $65,000, which is getting better. It's getting interesting now. So now, Ruben, let me ask you, since you're pretty well seasoned in the investment world and you know how markets work, what do you think is a realistic rate of growth for EXP Realty? And we can use a different example next time. Just give me any round number. It doesn't have to be exact.
Yeah, so I'll continue with the like I'm an average type of agent mindset on this one. So I would, let's see, if I didn't know better, just take a guesstimation. Let's say I almost want to do that 10%. I feel like that's a number
Yeah,
that
let's keep
agents will
10%.
use. Yeah, 10%.
Yeah, we can keep 10%. That's fine. And what that means is if we keep a 10% annual rate of growth, and remember, we're not making any guarantees here. We're just making hypothetical
Correct.
estimations of what this could be. It could go to zero. It could be the next reserve currency of the world. Who knows, right? It could be everything in between. So at a 10% growth, that means your stock just on year one is worth $6,100 extra. On year two, it's worth $12,820. On year three, it's worth about $20,000. Year four, 28. In year five, about 37. So that's an additional $7,000 a year if you leave the stock in there for 5 years and don't even think about it. That's an additional seven. So if you add the seven back into your grand total, now you're at 80. You're at 80,000 compared to 65, and you're saving for your retirement 37,000 in 5 years. The average American can only save, a very disciplined average American can only save about 5,000 a year, and those are real statistics. So being able to save 37,000 puts you in the top percentile of savers. Most people can't do that. So this is a very nice strategy for agents who don't have a plan, who don't have financial savvy, I guess you would call it, who are not consistently investing their money, buying properties, or doing whatever they got to do. This is an addition to what you're already getting at a brokerage, which is amazing.
So, kid,
Now,
if you don't mind, just for shits and giggles, I know
yeah,
that 183% is what it's actually grown year over year. Could you put that number in, and just because it's fun to ask the agent, like, what do you think? And obviously, it's going to be
yeah,
undershot, but it'd be interesting to see what the true, at least past
yeah.
statistics. We don't know what's going to happen in the future, but I'd love to see that.
Yeah, you know what's funny? People who don't know about stock, they're like, I don't know, 80%. And I'm like squirming because I'm like, oh my God, this number's gonna be so big. It's crazy, right? So let's just
Yeah,
say that it's 182.46%. Like that's what we have right there.
yeah,
If that happens, guys, you're looking at $1.5 million that your stock's gonna be worth in 5 years. But the likelihood of that is probably very small because the majority of the growth happens when a company's pre-revenue or when it's still growth stage. We're
hmm
established at this point right now. Our company is a dividend company, which means that we're paying out our stockholders money every quarter because we're profitable and we have extra money that we're not using for research and development. So what do we do with that extra money? We give it back to our stockholders. So additionally, from not only are you getting the appreciation of your stock, but you're also getting quarterly dividends on your money, which is great. You're getting a paycheck for just holding. It's crazy.
Yep. I love it. And then is there a program to where you could reinvest your dividends?
Yeah, well, it depends who you're investing with. Whatever brokerage house you have, they give you the
Yeah.
option to either take the cash or to take it as stock.
Awesome. So for
Yeah.
anybody who's watching, obviously that was numbers heavy, but a lot of clarity and a lot of transparency. If you do have any questions or want us to back up on something, let us know. Go ahead and comment below so that way we could get to it.
Yep.
But now what I'd like to do, was there anything else you wanted to add?
We could do one more example if you like, and then we can run through a quick rev share example. That's usually like the showstopper.
Mm,
But this is very much important because agents never really take the time to do apples per apples comparison. And I
yeah.
actually built this computer, this spreadsheet out. I built it before I joined EXP because I wanted to make sure that my agents were not going to be at a disadvantage. And when I saw that they were literally light years ahead of anything I can offer them, I said, this
Hmm.
is a no-brainer. I have to do it for them.
I love it, man. All right, so good. Yeah, if you don't mind, let's do a cap, or excuse me, a icon agent.
Icon agent? Okay.
Yeah, and then we will move into the rev share and see what
Sure,
that
sure.
looks like.
All right. So let's go with average sale price first.
In our market, around that 200. We're
200.
climbing. We're getting there, man. We're
Okay.
getting
All
there.
right. So we're using someone in your market. So
Yep.
someone in your market, for them to be a capper, they probably have to do 40 transactions.
Yeah, it's right
But
under, but let's just do 40 to be safe.
right, just like around there, probably 30
Yep.
something, 40.
Yeah.
Right. So that's 8 million in annual sales. Average 3% commission. That's 240,000 gross commission. Remember, we're using someone here who's at a major brokerage. But even if we did, like if someone got special treatment, and let's say that they got a 90/10, they're still leaving behind 24,000. They're leaving behind $40,000 in this scenario right here.
Yeah.
They're walking away with 199. Now, leaving behind $40,000 for a lot of people, this is what they earn in a year. And they're leaving this on the table, which is It's the old way of doing real estate. I'm not going to lie. This is the way it's always been, but it doesn't have to be. So that
Mm-hmm.
same example, that same agent at EXP is only leaving behind 18,000 versus the 40. Okay. I know some people out there like, oh, I'm at 100% brokerage. You know, that's still too much, but you're not getting equity. You're not getting this. So what we're going to do is now we're going to factor in the other compensation that most people act like doesn't exist, because people don't want to see that, because they want to feel like they're at the best place because they have friends there. It's a tribal mentality, like, oh, if I leave this company, they're not going to be my friends anymore. What if I don't make it and I have to come back? I'm going to be ashamed. All of those are fears. I get it. You know, I understand. You know, people are tribal by nature, but when people see this, a lot of times their eyes open up. But you know, they may not see it right away, but it's planting a seed in their head, and eventually they're like, you know what? That stuff I heard about EXP is making a lot more sense, you know, as time
Yep.
goes by. So then when you factor in all of this compensation for a capper, for someone who is icon, then you're looking at total compensation of 239,780 versus the 199. Okay, that's a big difference. But look at this though. They started with 249. They started with 240, and they walked away with almost every single cent of what they put in as commission. So
Yep.
they're truly almost at 100% here. So now when we factor in the rate of growth of the stock they're getting, if they do this for 5 years straight, even if we use the very modest number, give me any number, Ruben, and we can estimate what it might be. And remember, these are all estimations. We don't make predictions.
Yeah, I mean, I think 10%. Let's just keep
Keep
that.
10%. We keep 10%, and that means in 5 years, their stock accumulating over 5 years is going to be worth an additional $200,000, which breaks down to about $40,000 extra every year. So if you factor in the 40 plus the 240, you're at 280. You're way ahead of the game. You're way ahead of your broker. You're way ahead of any top producer in your current office. You're doing really well for yourself, you know. So that's the game changer, and that's when people start to see like, oh, I get it now. I didn't like stock. I didn't understand stock, but now that I see the visual, like I get it now. Like that's
Yeah.
usually what I hear.
Well, what if they don't? They're like, you know what? You're pulling the wool over my eyes. This is magic. This
Mm-hmm.
is magic. This is fake. This is fugazi.
Yeah, yeah.
What do you tell that person is just cannot believe that they're making 200% more by literally grabbing that piece of paper they call a license and moving it to a different firm, and
Okay.
boom, you've increased your business 200%. Like,
Well,
what do they say?
the only thing you can say to a person like that is like, okay, let's just say that I'm lying, right? Let's say that everything I'm saying to you is bogus. But what if there's a slight chance, a very slight chance that I'm right? Would that change your life? You know,
Yes.
people are like, what are you going to say? Like, you know, no, I'm not going to take a chance, Lewis. I'd rather not own the company I work for and slave for and run on a hamster wheel for 24/7. I'm happy just being a number there. Like, of course not. You know, like when you make these moves, like people think that when we speak to them about EXP, they think they're like, oh, Lewis is going to get rich. Ruben's going to get rich if I come on over. People don't understand the amount of income we make on one capper is so insignificant compared to the upside that they're going to have.
100%.
Oh my God, it's night and day. Ruben, you were with a major company before here, right?
Yep.
The amount of money you're keeping, just keeping, not even making more than, versus where you were before, is it's safe to say it's probably in the tens of thousands per year.
Yeah, it's not even fathomable. Like
Yeah,
it's completely night and day. It's
exactly.
crazy. But what I will say to your point prior, when we connected in Florida and we like all got together and had a good time or whatever, I reached out, or no, Mike, who was with me, Mike Glaspie, he reached out to one of our agents who were in my downline and said, check your stock. She had like $250,000 in stock. She didn't even know it. And me, who doesn't do sales, which I'm supposed to be getting rich off of her, dude,
Yeah.
I had less than, what was it? I had less
Mhm.
than half of what she had because I'm
Yeah.
not in sales, right? So she was definitely doing way better than me. But that was just to go to your point, to prove your point.
Absolutely. And is it safe to say that your business partner, the one who brought you to this company, the amount of money they make with you in a year from you joining is probably enough to cover their card note every month. That's probably what they're earning off of you being here.
Right.
But the amount of money you're earning is so crazy.
Yep.
It's night and day. So I think a lot of times when people see the excitement, that comes along with this, they're kind of like weary, like it is too good to be true. What are they trying to pull? Like you said, pull the wool over my eyes. What are they going to get out of this? And it's just that, it's hard to explain it unless you see it and experience it, because experience is really what really kind of like allow you to understand, because there really isn't any other way to really kind of like sum this thing up. Now, for some people, they're like, all right, this is great. Well, I like it. But you know what? I'm winding down my business. I don't want to do more sales. I want to do less sales. Okay, that's a guy or girl who's been in business 20 years. They've already done everything. Maybe a broker, maybe a burnt down team leader, right? So they're like, what else is there? Like, what else can I do with my connections, with my influence? What can I do? So when I see a person like that, I'm like, well, you should really think about growing your organization, because wasn't that your dream to begin with? Isn't that why you started a team? Isn't that why you started a brokerage? And I laugh when I hear brokers say, you know what, I only want 4 agents on purpose. When I hear that, I know that's all ego driven. Because the truth is that, like, I wish, can someone help me and teach me how to get more agents? That's really what they're saying, but they don't understand. They always give me the quality over quantity speech, and I'm like, okay, well, I get it. Well, what I tell them a lot of times is like, what if
shots fired?
What I tell them a lot of times is like, okay, I get it. You only want quality over quantity because you don't want to be responsible for these people in the event that you train them and they don't do anything. Correct? Yeah, absolutely. You train them and they get good and then they leave. Correct? Yes, that's true. And you don't want to stop producing, right? Because you fear that if you start investing into other people, you're gonna produce less. Yes, that's true. So what if you could grow an organization of hundreds of agents without having to do any of that, without having to lose any income, while allowing you to probably even produce more? What about that scenario? And they're like, yeah, well, then that makes sense. And if I don't have to worry about them getting sued if they do something wrong, perfect. All right. So then I show them this, and I'm like, you know what? Let's just say that you had your 4 or 5 agents. So let's just say that's all you had. Well, 4 or 5 agents, it's not going to change your life, but I just want to show you, because when you get a taste of blood, when you start seeing that, oh my God, there's really something here, you start to figure out that this is not so hard. This is not the hardest thing in the world for a leader, because a leader helps other leaders, right? That's what a leader is. A definition of a leader is you build other leaders. So if you start pouring into others and teaching them what you're doing and how to run an organization, well, pretty soon you're going to start to notice your organization is going to grow. So what I show them is that if you were to attract 5 agents to the company, and we're talking about agents that are just doing average home sales, $350,000 sales, or we can change this to 300, 200, doesn't matter. And they only do 6 closings a year at an average of 2.5% commission. Well, just from those 5 agents, from the company dollar, not even if you have them on like a brokerage split, if like you have them on your team, your production team, forget about all of that. Just from the company dollar, the company's going to pay you an additional $9,000 that year, $9,100 for the production of those 5 agents. And that's no chump change. $9,000 for a lot of people, that's going to help big time. Yep. But the thing is that 5 agents also unlocks their level 2, which means that they also have the ability to earn from these agents as well, because your 5 agents will attract other agents. So what I did here in this formula is that I used the Fibonacci golden ratio to say that, well, if we attract 5 agents will then attract 8, which one will attract 13, 21, 34, 55, and 90. And the reason why I use the Fibonacci ratio is because it's more conservative than just telling people it's going to double on every level. Number one, it's more conservative, but it's also found everywhere in nature. It's found.
I was going to say it's the law of the universe.
It's the law of the universe, exactly. So if we just apply that, they can't really argue with those numbers, because it's the 80-20 principle. It's whatever principle you want to think about. It's really what it comes down to. So if we do that, that means you'll be earning from 2 levels, which allows you to earn the 9 plus the 16, which is $25,000 a year from just company dollar. And when I show them this, they're like, well, I could do 5. Well, if I can do 5 for 5 years, then I could do 25. And if you do 25, you've now unlocked 6 levels, which gives you the ability to earn almost 400,000 here, 550, let's say 630, 7, like almost like $750,000 a year, from bringing in 25 agents and allowing your organization to mature a couple of years. You're making 750. which is more than the top producers in any organization make. Like that's a sick amount of money. And then God forbid you unlock every level and bring in 40 agents. Well, there's a crazy statistic out there, Ruben. I'm not sure if you're familiar with this, but every single agent at EXP Realty who has attracted 40 FLQAs, that's 40 agents who have closed at least one deal in the last 6 months. Not even these guys who are closing 6 a year. But if you've attracted 40 agents who are all FLQAs, there is not one agent in our company who makes less than $1 million a year on rev share. It's a crazy statistic, right?
Yep.
That's insane. Cool. So when I show them this and I just give them the visuals, it kind of opens things up, but it also really kind of scares people because what I hear a lot is, wow, you give me a lot to think about. And I say, don't think too much because you'll end up not doing anything. But you can't want it for them. People have to want it themselves. That's the only struggle we have sometimes.
Yeah. If you don't mind, can you go back to the rev share thing? Because I want to make it relatable because the cool thing is you say 350. Well, I'm in, let's say our organization or our team's in 15 different states. So the 350 is definitely more of an
national average.
Yeah, because we got California agents. You can't
their average
buy
sells
a
$1 million.
Dude, I saw it was like, what was it? It was like $600,000 home, 1 bed, 1 bath, and it was burnt. Yeah. Like half of it was burnt down. I was like, what in the world? But anyways, so I could see the 350. But just for anybody who's like, rah, 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 if you don't mind, can you change it to 200,000? And that would be kind of like our mark, just to. Oh, you're gonna have to go all the way down, huh? Oh, there you go. Okay, cool.
3% commission, or do you want to keep it at 2.5?
We'll keep 2.5 just because.
All right. Yeah. So okay. Well, if you bring on 40 agents, and unfortunately you'll only make 1.7.
Never mind.
Yeah.
All right. I'm gonna cut this off. This is way too little.
Yeah. This is not beneficial. You just wasted half an hour of my life.
Yeah. Super cool, man. Thank you. This is awesome. If anybody does they say numbers are the language of business. I mean, what else do you really have to do or even talk about? Because the numbers have showed it. The numbers are telling the story for you. But still super interested for anybody who has questions. I'm seeing a lot of comments. Just people love it and super great content. And this is what they needed and all of that. But who has questions? Questions?
Yeah. One thing I'm sure everyone's going to want is they're going to want a copy of this calculator. So just let them message you here, and then we'll distribute it. The only thing is that the calculator is not editable, so you got to make a copy of the calculator, and then you can edit it any way you want. So you guys can play around with it if you need to use it.
Right. Very cool. Cool. Yeah. Again, if you have any questions, what else would you add to the stock? Because people are looking at the stock now. Well, people are looking at the stock right now and it's like, man, that thing is red. It's going to the floor. It's going to die. Cool. I know. Well, listen, you got to take your mindset out of it for a second. All right, Lewis. All right. Because we see it as buy time, right? Especially if you're getting at a 10% discount, like, duh, this is perfect for us. However, and they don't know about Realogy and all the other stocks that are in the red. This is all they look at. Say they pull it up, you're talking with them, they pull up EXPI, they're like, oh, it's bloody red. What do you what's that conversation look like, if you don't mind?
Oh, sure. Well, if anyone ever, maybe 1 out of 20, maybe 1 out of 30 agents ever say, oh yeah, right. I know about stock. Why is it so down right now? Yeah. What I say to them is like, I'm not there to educate them on finances of stock, right? What I do is I just give them kind of a metaphor and I say, look, there was a lot of hype in the stock market late last year. Agreed? It was pretty much widespread. On top of all the hype, we had a 4 or 5 for 1 stock split. We had Grant Cardone join our organization all in the same month, like all of this craziness. So our stock went to $160 a share, like $165. That was literally, I think, the peak, right? Mm-hmm. So now, no fundamentals have changed. Our numbers have only gotten stronger. We've become a dividend stock since then, which means we pay you for holding, right? And now the stock is a quarter of what it was, or maybe a third of what it was back then. So if no fundamentals have changed and the stock is cheaper, that's golden. I'm like, that's when you want to start accumulating, because when you're getting this stock right now awarded to you, when it does reverse, because nothing stays down forever. That's just the thing, is that a lot of people don't have the mentality of investors, which means that when it's down, when there's blood in the streets, like people like to say, that's when you buy. Well, the market in general is bloody right now. The S&P is down. Netflix is the lowest it's been in like 10 years. Crazy, right? All this stuff is down.
Yeah, they're
right
talking about a 2 million subscriber loss in the next few months.
Next quarter, right? Yeah, it's nuts. So these are the times that you want to be awarded the stock, because when it does recover and you look back, you're going to be like, damn, I wish I would have gotten more stock. I wish I would have bought that. But since a lot of us are not disciplined to do that, well, guess what? EXP does it for you automatically, because every time you close, you get these awards, you get these awards, you get these awards. And you look back and like, you know what? I would have never had the wherewithal to buy when it was so low, because it takes guts, because people see red, they fear, they get scared. So, right. So you do the opposite of what your emotions tell you, you're a good investor. You do what your emotions tell you, you're usually a broke investor. That's really all. I mean, I can tell them, I can't re-educate their mind in one sitting, but I can tell them, look, just imagine if your favorite Nikes are on sale for a quarter of the price. And, it's kind of like the same mentality. You're getting the same value for a lot cheaper. That's really what it comes down to.
You mind if I ask you a personal question?
Go for it.
So now we have something we're looking at that we're going to use the stock for, but just asking you, are you looking for a number that your stock accumulates to, that you're going to do something with? Is this a long hold? Is there a percentage of the stock that you're going to sell off to do something with? If you don't mind, can we dive into Lewis's head and see what your plans are for the stock?
Oh, sure. Could I share my screen and I'll give you an idea?
Yeah, 100%.
All right, cool.
And guys, if you want Lewis back on, which I'm sure is going to happen, hit that heart, share it, just say bring him back or whatever you got to do, so that way we know that we need to bring him back. If not, Lewis goes back to his basement and we never see him again.
Dungeon.
Yeah. So, by the way, he's got a banging YouTube channel. A lot of people know who this cat is. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and boom.
All right, awesome. So what I'm showing you right now, let me just kind of dumb this down a little bit. Let me just maybe I'm gonna delete. So, well, you know what? I'm just gonna minimize this a little bit so I can give you guys more of a good visual. All right, so this up here, this was where the EXP stock topped out. So this is $90, adjusted for the stock split. Okay.
Yeah.
Where we are right now is at $16, sub $16, guys. This is not because I'm saying it, but you look at any financial website and the analysts have this as a buy. Okay, not me. I'm not saying it. Just look at the analysts. What they have it as. They have it as a buy. Okay, so if I were to, and this is a strategic my move. I'm not to say you guys should do this, or this is financial advice or anything. But this is what I would be doing. So, and I do the same thing with Tesla. I do the same thing with my other stocks. So what I would be doing is there are certain points where you can take profits and in hopes to park cash and wait for dips so you can come back and you can accumulate again. So what I would look at is I would look at a couple of value areas. So I'm going to show you guys really quickly what that means. And let me work with what I got here. So you see this white line in here. This white line in here tells me that there's been resistance here in the past. Mm-hmm. So at this level, at $55, if the stock were to hit $55, I'd probably take some profits. Why? Not because I want to be out of the stock totally, because what stock tends to do is it never goes in a straight line. It never goes straight up and it never goes straight in. Okay? It doesn't do that. Right. What it tends to do is it kind of does one of these and until it finally breaks out. So what I would do is I'd probably sell when it hit $55, reaccumulate maybe where it has support in the past, because in the past it looked like it's had support and possibly like areas like this.
Yeah, if you look at that red candlestick to the left, it's a long one, and there's a slight touch in that price point. Yeah, right there. And boom, it shot back up. So there's a lot more buy orders and all of that right there.
Exactly. So I'd accumulate in this zone, like anywhere between here to down here. I'd be accumulating again if it did. So I would take profits, accumulate, whatever. I'd probably only try it maybe one time. And then I'd probably wait till we get to a level up here where this was the all-time high, and I'd take profit somewhere before that. Yeah. And I would do the same thing. I would wait for the price to do something like this. If we had a clean breakout, we'd probably have resistance here. Everyone's going to take profits. It's going to come back down. You buy in again, and then you hope that it breaks through and comes in for, something much higher. There's also another very popular trading strategy, which is called the Fibonacci golden ratio, which is what we spoke about earlier with the chart, which says that this area right here is going to be an area where people are probably going to also be taking profits. So funny how it lines up with what I told you guys earlier anyway. So when you have what's called confluence, which means that you have more than one strategy telling you the same thing, that's strong signal. It's called confluence or confluence, whatever people want to pronounce it. So I would say that this area here is a very strong area for people taking profits, and down here would be strong accumulation areas. Okay. And then obviously if you want to try to time the markets, which is not recommendable, but if you want to take profits, this is probably going to be a good area where most people are going to be taking profits. And if you want to accumulate, guys, we're in a heavy accumulation area right now. This is like, I don't think we're going to get these opportunities too often, but I could be wrong. I don't know the future, but definitely I'm excited about the price where it is at the moment, because we're not in bad shape. There's no bad reportings. We're not losing money. We're not losing sales. We're not losing agents. We're not losing anything. All our statistics are way up. So I'm excited about it.
Yeah, cool. Okay. So obviously you're looking at this as a more strategic eye, where the buy and where the low, where the buy orders are, the sell orders are, and you're looking at all that. Now, would you say one of the greatest investment strategies is just a daily cost average?
Yes, 100%.
So check this out. Sorry, I was just going to say this and then jump in. Now, what is the agent equity program?
Yeah,
right.
It's in DCA.
Yeah, it's basically a daily cost average. So where you're not even thinking about it, you're buying in little at a time, and average over time, you've beaten the market or you've done better than the market. It's just interesting that it's already kind of built in.
It's built in.
Yeah. So if you can go Lewis route and highly strategic, sell here, buy here, or just do a DCA or daily cost average basically through your sales and do good too.
100%. Yeah, there's many ways that you could do well here, and the most disciplined investors, that's what they do. They dollar cost average in and they forget about it. That's what a lot of smart people do. Now, if you're playing the market, which most people don't win at that game, especially when they overtrade, that's not really a good strategy. But what EXP does for us is they allow us to really take advantages of dips, medium average prices, maybe sometimes tops, but tops don't last too long. But these areas where people are accumulating right now because of dollar cost averaging through our closings, our equity program, it's amazing. People are gonna look back and like, yeah, I was getting stock at $7. I know when we first joined, stock was at like $7. And then, agents were telling me, they're like, oh my God, I can't believe how much it's gone up.
Cool. Okay. And then last question kind of goes back into my previous question, which is, are you looking to sell this stock at a certain number to buy something else? Are you looking to hold 100% of this? What do you do? Like, what is the strategy for you for this stock?
So
not this, but like, are you going to sell or hold type of deal?
Yeah. So the funny thing is that I have EXP stock that I've been awarded, and obviously stock that I purchased through the equity program. But I also have bought the stock outside of the company because I'm that much of a believer in where the company's going. I do believe we'll be the world's first 1 million agent brokerage, and we're on our path to do that. We'll be the world's largest brokerage in probably a year or two, which is incredible by agent count, because we already are the world's largest brokerage under one roof or virtual roof. But we will be the world's largest real estate brokerage, agent count, everything you could think of. And then when that happens, that's really going to propel our valuation much, much higher than where it is now. So myself, I do feel like this is a very long-term strategic play for me. If I ever do sell the stock, it's to buy it back in at a cheaper price. It's not that I'm going to sell it because I want to go buy Bitcoin, because there's money for different investments that don't have, unless you're getting some, like a house for like 20 cents on a dollar and you got to liquidate EXPI stock to go buy it. I mean, that's one thing, but with the intentions of coming back later and buying it again, like you just never want to be completely out of it. But the thing is since we have the foresight, because we go to the conventions, we see the numbers, we hear, we know who Glenn Sanford is, because before I joined EXP Realty, I used to think, I don't know this Glenn Sanford guy, what if I join with my brokerage and he fires me, keeps my agents? And my business partner would tell me he would never do a thing like that. He's not the kind of person he is. And I was like, yeah, I've heard that before. But now being in the company and seeing the character of this man, this billionaire that walks around and spends 15 minutes talking to you when you see him at a convention, you know, like you don't see that too often. Very humble person, and I think he remembers his meager beginnings as well. So I'm very excited about the company. I love the leadership, and I love the culture. I mean, really, that's really what stands out to me is that how do you build a culture without an office? Well, you make them all partners, and that's
Yeah,
why
exactly.
Ruben has me on his show, and this is why I help Ruben with whatever I can. He helps me whatever he can, and we don't benefit from each other directly, but indirectly, we're all partners.
That's right. Yep, we're all owners in this thing.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. Well, does anybody have any last questions? Obviously, we don't have too much more time, so make sure you ask them. But again, getting a lot of love, and it looks like a lot of people want you back. So you're probably going to have to create another Excel spreadsheet.
Yeah, I'll have to come up with a different one.
Yeah. What we've looked at is possibly selling some of the stock in the future to buy more real estate with, because we love us some real estate.
Yep.
But it definitely won't be all of it, not even half of it. It would just be a small chunk to buy into something that's going to have, you know, equity, cash flow, all that good stuff. But it's interesting, right? You're using one real estate thing to buy more real estate. So what's the greatest asset?
And all roads lead to real estate.
All roads lead to real estate. Cool, man. Was there any, I don't see any questions. Maybe people are still typing, but what do you like? Do you have any last things you just want to throw at someone, maybe to change their mindset, or maybe just a strategy or anything? What would you throw at them?
Sure. I'm sure we have a wide variety of people on the call who are, you know, some are interested in one aspect of the business and others in other aspects. Really, what I would say is, if you want to succeed at anything in this industry, you really just have to make a decision to get completely and utterly obsessed. If you're not getting obsessed about what you're doing, if you're not waking up thinking about it, going to sleep thinking about it, talking to anyone with ears about it, then you're probably not passionate about it yourself. You haven't sold yourself on it yet. So, you know, if you're lacking that, then, you know, you really need to question yourself. Am I doing this for the right reasons? Am I doing this to serve others? Am I doing this only for the benefit of myself? Am I only doing it for money? Because to be honest with you guys, money does not keep people interested. Money is the vehicle to get you to your goals. So I'm always a big believer in that your goals should be very uncomfortable, and that you need to get utterly obsessed about what you're doing in order to get there. And, you know, that's really the rules of the game, guys.
Yep, 100%. What are you doing over there on the side?
Who's that? Me?
Yeah.
Why is that?
It looked like you were knocking out. You're like simultaneously buying more stock. Or
you know, what's funny is that I've got your Facebook stream on one screen, and I've got used your StreamYard on the other one, so it's distracting me a little bit. So that's my bad. That's my bad. You know what? I love face-to-face interviews, and I've been having to work on my Zoom etiquette. I mean, I'm not really there yet. You know, I'm working on it. You know, making eye contact with the camera is really hard.
Yeah, it's interesting. I just thought you were, you know, making a play right in front of all of us, and it's just how good you are, you know?
No, I try not to do those things. I try to be focused on one thing at a time.
Absolutely. Cool, man. Well, I appreciate it. I know I'll see you next Friday. We got our Friday, Freedom Friday calls. If you want to ask Lewis any other questions, or you just want to connect with Lewis, which it sounds like a lot of people do, where can they find you?
Oh, absolutely. So you guys could always find me on culture.estate. That's our website. We have links there for all our social media, our YouTube page, pretty much everything. We also do a mastermind every Monday. If you guys want to jump into that, usually we just cover the real estate industry, whatever people want to talk about that day. So you're all welcome to meet us there. You can always find that also on our website. And yeah, I mean, pretty much very easy to find under Culture Estate on any social media platform.
Awesome, brother. Well, I appreciate it. Appreciate you jumping through. Yeah, this was the best. And it looks like, yeah, absolutely. You're going to have to come back. We'll give it like another quarter or so.
Yeah. Awesome.
Do you have anything on the top of your mind that you want to discuss in about a quarter, just to build some demand for anybody who's like biting their nails, ready to jump on the next one?
Oh, that I want to talk about next time?
Yeah, maybe it's something we talk about later, but is there something on your head that's like, you know, we need to get this off our chest for the next time we jump on?
Let's see. Well, one of the things that I guess, you know, people are very interested in, is growing their YouTube following, because I've been hearing a lot of people recently that have been crushing it on YouTube, spending zero ad spend, and just been doing extremely well. And I'm a believer in that, because I've done it myself. Unfortunately, I'm not really in sales anymore. I'm not big on production, and for multiple reasons. But I've seen it, that it's very possible. I've created a couple of videos for my local market, and I get people reaching out to me from not only other parts of the country, but other parts of the world. And I'm meeting people from the UK, from Germany, from Canada, from Mexico, from Spain, all over the world, that want to move here and they want to buy here. And the first person they interact with is the person creating the content for that area. So yeah, I've done a couple presentations on that as well. So if you'd like, we talk about it next time.
Perfect. That's what we'll do. So if you guys are ready to hear that, obviously share, hit that heart, just keep tuning in to Be More Training. Subscribe to Proven by Ruben on YouTube and all that good jazz, and you'll be alerted when we do jump on first and third Wednesday every single month. Lewis, I'm going to have the president of global growth on Be More Training next Monday.
Nice.
Next month, the first Wednesday. So tune in. Thank you so much again, brother. And that's it.
Awesome. Take care, guys.
And it